7-Eleven, welcome back. Tomorrow, the New Orleans City Council is expected to take up a resolution tied to the proposed Rivanna housing development. That's a project that could bring hundreds of new homes into the city. It's an affordable housing project that we've talked about a lot here on the Morning News. That's one of several topics to get to talk to Councilwoman Leslie Harris about what's going on there and a couple other things going on in the city. Good morning to you, ma'am.
Good morning.
Always good to be with you.
Always good to be here.
You know, yesterday morning we had our Mike McDaniel out there live in front of the old Lindy Boggs Hospital. They had that meeting yesterday with folks getting an update on the demolition efforts. Things were supposed to get started this week, but they're going to get started next week. Is that the case?
Yes, there was a CEA that needed to be passed by the City Council that we will consider tomorrow, and that is just a commitment from the city to help invest in stormwater management at the site.
And that is the primary objective of that site, right? They're going to tear it down and the basement area will be used as a retention facility.
Yeah, 400 million gallons of water retained under that facility. And then on top of it will eventually be retail and housing.
Yeah, most definitely. Welcome news, of course. You hear from folks there who say, yeah, listen, it's been like that since 21 years. It's time for it to be torn down. But they also say they'll believe it when they see it. So will it start?
It will start.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Speaking of will it start, moving on to the Omni and another vote there.
Yes, so the Omni, we will vote on the final ordinance to pass a height variance for the hotel.
And that is a zoning change that had to go into effect. It was recommended to the council, and the council is going to take up that final vote yesterday. Where do you stand on the project?
So I think it's a great project. I think it will show that New Orleans is open for business, that we are ready to go. This is a huge investment in the city, $500 million just to build the Omni, with at least $129 million in local commitment for labor.
And that is the conversation about it and what it could be potentially for growth for the convention center too, and attracting more conventions to the city, and the hotel being tied to that. At the city council meeting where this conversation came up, you had some who had some concerns just about whether there is enough business to keep people employed, and these are people who currently work in the industry who say that there's not enough work for them now.
Well, I think if we have this new hotel, that we will attract additional people who will work there, and I think that's why it's so important that we get this built.
Okay, well, let's move on now to the River District project and the vote tomorrow, essentially going off a recommendation here for the Rivanna project. Walk us through what you're voting on in particular.
Sure, so the Rivanna is 220 units of affordable and workforce housing. It sits on land that's owned by the convention center, so it currently is not taxed land. What we're voting on tomorrow is a pilot, which is a payment in lieu of taxes that will stop the taxes for 40 years. But what we get in return is 220 units of affordable and workforce housing.
And I'm reading the recommendation right now from the economic body, which reads, not only does this project satisfy the statutory eligibility criteria for approval, but the public benefits substantially outweigh the cost of the proposed incentive. How so?
So again, right now that land is not taxed at all because it's owned by the convention center, which is a state entity. Putting 220 units of new affordable and workforce housing is the public benefit that the city gets from this. And so holding off taxing that project for 40 years provides the benefit and housing, what we need right now in New Orleans.
Essentially, the convention center, also the River District neighborhood investors, the developers here, so to speak, in all of this. There were some questions about the RD&I and whether it had the financial stability to continue on as the developer of this project, and once it gets started going forward in the future. Do you have any of those concerns?
I don't. They've partnered with Providence Housing, which is an affordable housing nonprofit for this specific project. That entity has years and years of creating affordable housing. So I have the utmost thought that this is going to go forward.
And looking at the proposal for affordable housing in terms of what it will be in that mix in terms of what people will save, the goal is to keep it at 50%, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Is there any guarantee, though, because, there's the possibility that this project does have government subsidies. There could be the potential for some of that money money to slip away. Can we guarantee that that will continue?
That's what the pilot does. So by entering this pilot agreement, they're guaranteeing that there will be at least 40 years of affordability, if not more.
Okay, and with the pilot, no doubt that it's not going to work out.
I think it's going to work.
All right, definitely. And just talk to us then about the need for this. You hear from housing advocates about the need for more affordable housing. They had their skepticism, to be honest, about this project going on because of what we just discussed. But you say that this proposal fixes that.
It does. And look, for the River District altogether, there is a commitment for 950 units of housing, 450 which are affordable housing. So this is the first phase of that housing. We will see more housing and more development on that site. And keep in mind that the River District is really city-centric. So people who are living in the River District can walk to jobs, can easily get to downtown to the jobs that they have.
All right, and that project is underway. It will also continue to, well, include rather Shell's headquarters. Yeah. There were some questions about just the tax breaks that Shell got on that. What is it? It's a 15-year exemption there. Is that fair?
I think it's fair. I think that they're building a new headquarters. They could go anywhere. They could go to Houston easily, and that would take a huge portion of New Orleans tax base away from us. So I think it's fair to give them that incentive for them to build a new headquarters.
And there is a competition to not only attract businesses of the like, but keep those that are here.
Absolutely. And so I think that they are invested into the River District. If you go by right now, you can see the building going up. And I think they're going to open fairly quickly next year, I think is the goal.
Yeah, they're underway on the construction. February of this year to June of 28 is the goal for it being completed. I can tell you now, I often get caught in the traffic, so they are doing some work down there. All right, Councilperson Leslie Harris, always good to speak to you. Thank you for coming in. Again, that vote tomorrow from the City Council.